The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Aging Horizon. This is your host, Wilmot Collins. Today we're going to be discussing SMP, Senior Medicare Patrol. This is also fraud, prevention of fraud, waste, and abuse. Our guests will be discussing ways to help you prevent those. So stay tuned and we will be right back.
Medicare loses $60 million in Montana each year, $70 billion nationally. Medicare processes 4.5 million claims a day. They don't know who your doctor is, but you do. Mistakes can happen.
Read your Medicare statements and call Montana Senior Medicare Patrol if you see anything unexpected.
1-800-551-3191. This project is supported by a grant by the Administration for Community Living.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
45 years, 2 packs a day. It's like $80,000. I thought I was just hurting myself until I fell asleep in a chair with a cigarette. The whole house went up. I lost it all. I knew smoking was expensive, but I never thought it would cost me everything.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, but my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
We're back. And this is your host, Wilma Collins, and this is Aging Horizon, brought to you by the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. We have with us today as our guest, Renee LeBray Shanks. She is the Montana Statewide Director for SMP, Senior Medicare Patrol. Renee, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Wilmot. I'm so glad to be here today, actually, and be able to talk about SMP and why people need to know about it.
So tell us about SMP, Renee.
Sure. Well, basically, SMPs are grant-funded projects that are by the Administration for Community Living, and they're located in every state and U.S. protectorate. SMPs, or Senior Medicare Patrols, are to empower and assist Medicare beneficiaries, their families, and caregivers. And it's a mouthful, but we prevent, detect, and report healthcare fraud, errors, and abuse through outreach, counseling, and education.
So I heard you talking about empowering seniors. Tell our audience, what is it you do to empower seniors to prevent fraud?
Thanks. Yes. It means we're the piece of the puzzle that helps the people on Medicare or their caregivers to understand how to stop the fraud themselves and how to do this work themselves. So we want to empower them. So I do want to talk about fraud because I think when we think of it, it's this huge, overwhelming thing that nobody can really help with. But imagine if you yourself stole $9 million from the government. Where would that money be right now? Where would you be? Would you be sitting here?
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be sitting here if I had stolen $9 million. But so how can we help the seniors prevent that?
Yeah, well, what I want to get to is, the person who steals the money from Medicare, they don't have it sitting in the bank waiting to hand it over when they're caught. They're not expecting to be caught, first of all, but they're using the money. They're spending it, they're buying things, they're hiding it. So we need to kind of talk about that. That's the front end of this, so people realize how big of a part they can play at the back end of this. So when you hear Medicare recovered $9.2 million or $54 million, are we saying we got all that money back? A person steals $9 million, I'll just keep using that example, from taxpayers, because we all pay into this. Mm-hmm. And then our taxpayer money in the form of the Office of Inspector General, or OIG, they have to investigate. That could take years, and that's a cost. And then more taxpayer money, this time in the form of the Department of Justice, or DOJ, they're going to prosecute, and that's not cheap. So not only did we lose the $9 million, now we're spending hundreds of thousands of millions more to try and get back what was already taken. So, someone's going to make money keeping this person in jail, and we don't even want to talk about that because the taxpayer is also not going to save money keeping people in jail.
Wow.
So we want to find that person before they've stolen, the $9 million from Medicare, right?
Right. Renee, it sounds like a mess. I'm sorry. I'm guessing there's a better way.
Yes.
What is that better way?
We're doing here today. We're going to tell people the better way. Instead of losing what we lose, $70 billion a year to Medicare fraud, if you can believe that, we lose that. We're chasing down the bad guys after they stole from us. We need to stop them from stealing in the first place. And that's the main message I want people at home to understand. It all comes down to that: reading your Medicare statements. It's like putting a lock on the front door. Instead of leaving that door open for the crook to run through your house and steal everything they can, and then we find them 3 years down the road after they've spent it all and pawned things, you can stop them when they've just broken the glass. And that's the role of SMP. We want to teach you. We want to teach the people on Medicare, teach the caregivers to stop the crooks at the front door simply by opening and reading those Medicare statements that arrive every 3 months in the mail when people receive services. And we also do help research complaints and help resolve billing issues as well.
Whoa, okay. So in order to stop this fraud, you're making it sound so easy, but I know it's much more complicated than that. So what can we do as the audience, as Montana citizens, to help with this?
I think if everyone understands that Medicare processes over 4.5 million claims a day, it's just unbelievable to think of that. They're processing those claims. They don't know who you saw or what service or equipment you received. And the fraudsters know that. And they know something else too. They know that a lot of people on Medicare are not looking at their statements, not unless they're going to have to pay something out of pocket. If it's just Medicare paying, then as long as they're doing what they need to do, the person isn't really getting involved. And we see that a lot. Medicare does an excellent job of processing claims, but the person on Medicare needs to do their part and review those claims, because as long as the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, Medicare is processing them, and it's the job of every person on Medicare or their caregiver to please read those statements. That's the best way to stop fraud. In fact, anyone watching today, please go back over even the last 12 months and look at those as well.
So basically you're saying the front door is reading the statement. That would start the process of prevention.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, when it's like $100 or $500 instead of, and granted, when fraud happens, they're doing it multiple across the board. So it's not going to be quite as simple as that first person who catches it when it's $100 or $500, but it's a lot less than waiting 3 years down the road when Medicare catches it through patterns and task force and spending a lot of money, basically.
Thank you, Renee. We will be right back. Stay tuned. We have more exciting news for you.
Hey, caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
We love to get outdoors, so if we have any free time, that's pretty much where you can find us.
Bailey Tolson, East Helena.
We love to hike. Any chance we get, we're out there. And of course, there's always date night.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it. To learn if you're eligible, call 1-800-224-6034.
We love date night.
You've probably seen some big-name celebrities on your TV lately talking about all the Medicare benefits you're missing out on. But the insurance companies who are paying for these ads may be pushing benefits not available in Montana. Fortunately, help is available from a friendly state health insurance assistance program counselor who can help you sort it all out. It's free, and we screen everyone for eligibility regardless of your zip code. It's Montanans helping Montanans. Call today.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
A decade of Montana fourth graders on Energy Share. If you're having trouble keeping your home warm this winter, Energy Share of Montana is here to help. We've helped thousands of Montanans who are having trouble paying their energy bills, and getting assistance from the friendly folks at Energy Share is only a phone call or Google search away. Energy Share is not a government program. It's neighbors helping neighbors who face energy emergencies. The Montana way. Call or visit our website today. Thanks to Energy Share, I'm cozy like a bear.
We're back, and today we're talking about SMP, Senior Medicare Patrol. We have as our guest Renee Labrie Shanks, and she is the statewide director for SMP. Renee, welcome. I know you've talked about these people, these evil people are targeting a specific group of Montanans. Who are some of the targeted groups?
Yeah, it's funny because we want to, show that it's just a small portion of people really, but it's everybody on Medicare that are being targeted. And then at risk of being a victim, again, everyone. They have studies that show that those who are most at risk of being victim are actually the people who don't think it could happen to them. And when you don't think it can happen to you, it's making you unguarded. You're not, your guard's not up and you're not watching for it. And that's exactly what the fraudsters are hoping for. And I do want to take a moment to reframe being a victim of fraud, whether it's Medicare or any fraud. People don't lose money. It's stolen from them. And someone doesn't fall victim to Medicare fraud or any fraud. They're assaulted. We don't say the bank lost money when a crook steals it. It was taken. And it's the same thing when people are victim of any kind of fraud. They were assaulted and the money was taken.
So you're saying we shouldn't feel embarrassed. We should know that, hey, if we don't guide our property, people will steal them. People will take them. So it's okay for us to report it instead of feeling embarrassed.
Yes, it really is. It's important to do that. That's one of the ways we can help protect other people as well, is by us reporting things and stopping it.
We're here with talking to Renee Labrie Shanks. So this is really simple, as you put it. You said if people can talk about it, understand it, read the statement, Medicare statement, that's the most important thing. You must read your statement to know what's in it. If you don't read it, you don't know. Right?
And I'll give some examples of what types of fraud we've seen and what's happened with some of these cases. through, Medicare fraud. It's been happening forever, probably since Medicare started, but it's gotten so bad. Montana SMP saw a huge insurgence in 2018 and 19 with durable medical equipment, the back braces. Many people were reported receiving unordered braces in the mail. They didn't recognize the doctors on the MSNs quite often, which are those Medicare summary notices. And this is an ongoing issue. It's probably going to, keep going on. We're likely to always see this because they just find different loopholes and we close them off here and they go over here. So people really need to be sure to watch out for this. And I'm talking back braces, wrist, hand, knee, ankle braces. There was a woman in Billings with dementia who had 21 different items from 7 different companies before we were called. And then in 2021, there were a couple nurse practitioners in Montana. They were sentenced for conspiring to defraud Medicare millions of dollars. They both worked with companies just like this, and they received money to sign these brace orders that were prepared by telemarketers who had no medical training or certification. They basically sat in their living rooms and signed orders all days. And they stole, again, that resulted over about $9 million. It seems to be the number of the day. 2 years ago, there was a rash of unsolicited COVID test kits. Medicare no longer covers those, so we shouldn't see those, but people receiving hundreds of these that they didn't order, and Medicare was paying the tab. And then last spring, we saw an influx of genetic test kits and the start of urinary catheters showing up on people's statements. I think you'd know if your doctor ordered those or not for you. So these are obvious things that are showing up on people's statements. As of late, we've seen ostomy supplies, and that seems to be a new national trend. And there's been diabetic supplies, watch for glucose monitors, telehealth fraud, and basically any item that you don't recognize or your doctor didn't order, watch for that. It should be that obvious. And again, if we're not looking at those Medicare statements, you're not going to see that. In a lot of cases, people don't receive these items in the mail, so they're not going to know it unless they do read those statements.
I hear you. So I'm going to admonish my audience right now to pick up the statement and look it over. It's not going to take anything out of you. Pick up the statement. We hear that you will be able to detect the fraud. When you look at your statement and see that you did not order diabetes medication or braces, you can always arrest that situation by calling it in. But if you don't read your statement, you can't tell. You'll never know. So we have to read our statement. I'm asking you now to pick up one of your statements, look it over, and see if it's correct. If it's correct, great. But you will be able to detect. So please, Renee, any last word for this segment?
Yeah, just real quick, people wonder how the crooks got their info. One is social engineering, where they are psychologically manipulating people over the phone, saying this is Montana Medicare, or Medicare records show you're eligible for service. Did you receive a new Medicare card? Basically, if Medicare calls you out of the blue and asks for your information, 100% that's a scam. Right. And then there's been a lot of data breaches involved with software companies. And if your information's on the dark web, there's nothing we can do about that other than watch for it.
We've been talking to Renee LeBrie Shanks. She's the Montana statewide director for SMP. Renee, thanks for all this valuable information. And please, to my audience out there, read your Medicare statements. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for more valuable information.
Can you say ombudsman?
Ombudsman. Ombudsman?
Uma Doodlesman? Fortunately, you don't have to say it right to get the help of a long-term care ombudsman. If you or a loved one reside in assisted living or long-term care, an ombudsman can help resolve any issue. And these services are completely free and confidential. Now, why don't you try that again?
Ombudsman.
I was the last guy you'd expect to get diabetes. I was a competitive runner and I always took care of myself. So when I was diagnosed, it kind of threw me. But it's really encouraging to know I'm not alone with it. There are a lot of other people going through the same things as I am. It takes some effort. You have to keep after it. Exercise, meds, and diet are the key. But there are a lot of folks who want me to succeed. Diabetes is not the end of the world. With effort and attitude, you can have a normal life.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
We're back. We've been talking to Renee Labrie Shanks of the Senior Medicare Patrol. Now that we know we have to look at our statements, to my audience out there, Renee will be back to tell us just what you need to look for when you're reading that statement. Renee, what do we look for?
Yeah, people just need to look for services or equipment that they didn't receive, that their doctor didn't order, or that they don't recognize. And the dates of service, too, should line up. So if there's providers on there they've never heard of, that might be an indicator. There's other things that could be going on as well, like an anesthesiologist you haven't seen, but it should make sense. And so if you look at those, you call SMP if you need any help understanding them or want to go through them a little more thoroughly. And then I guess we could talk about other things people could do as well to help stop fraud from happening in the first place. And this can help across the board, whether it's Medicare or not, is to stop picking up the phone if you don't know who it is. Do you pick up the phone if it's an unknown number right now, Wilmot?
Sometimes I do, because I'm always afraid that it's an important call from a relative, But as soon as I realize that it's not someone I know, I just click.
Good. That's the best thing to do. I always tell people, don't pick up the phone if you don't know the number. And some people don't have caller ID, so it's hard to do that then. But every time you pick it up, it marks you as a live line, so they know you're an actual person on the other end, and they're going to keep you on a rotation. And then even worse than that, they're going to sell your number, so then you'll be on other rotations. So you're going to get more calls. So if you're expecting an important call, and hopefully most people, you put them in your contacts so it'll show up as you've entered them. But with simple technology, anyone can get their hands on. They can spoof numbers to make it look like it's a Montana number when it's not.
Yes.
So if we quit picking up unknown calls, if it's important, they'll leave a message and we can call them right back. And then, like you said, if you do answer the phone, find yourself on the other end of a telemarketer, just hang up. Just hang up. I know it's sometimes not in us to be rude, but just hang up. Or you could say, please put me on the do not call list. If it's a scammer, they're not going to do that, but it will help weed out legitimate unsolicited calls, so you'll get less of those. But the big thing as well is, and this goes with Medicare fraud, is to protect that number. I want to point this out because it's no longer our social security number. So I think people think that it's okay, like we don't need to protect it as much, but it's still a blank check to Medicare if it lands in the wrong hands. So if you find yourself in a call where someone's asking you to confirm your Medicare number or your social security number, your bank account, any personal information, and I'll go off into same with email, Facebook, unsolicited mail, anytime someone asking you to confirm personal information, that's your sign right there. That's a big red flag. Unless you instigated it, unless you called Medicare, they are never going to call you and ask for this information. So just that should stick in the back of your head. As soon as it comes to, I was asked for personal information, whether we're talking Medicare fraud or any kind, especially unexpected calls, that's the red flag. And as soon as that happens, before you do it, hang up. But if you think you've given out your information already, give us a call and we can talk about it.
Whoa. That is a lot of information, valuable information, Renee. So, to recap, we must read our statements. We must not pick up on solicitor calls. If we do pick them up, we can hang up immediately. We don't have to talk to them. We do not give up personal information on the phone. Is there anything I'm missing here? Are there other things that are related that we haven't spoken about?
No, I mean, I could talk about a few Medicare updates, but first I do want to make sure that we have time that we mention how do they find us? Because Montana SMP is statewide. We partner with the area agencies on aging across the state to provide that local service in everyone's community. So they can call the 800-551-3191, and that reaches their closest office on aging, which is where they're going to find us. They can also go to MissoulaAgingServices.org and find SMP, our Montana SMP program, under services. We've got videos, links, we've got tools people can pick up that help track their Medicare information. We have a Montana SMP Facebook page that keeps people updated on current scams and tips. So if they want to contact their local office, also I should say that our SHIP program is at that same number, and that helps people with Medicare benefits or enrollments, especially during the open enrollment periods. Like right now, we're in a Medicare Advantage open enrollment period where people who have those plans can switch them, and they're getting a lot of marketing right now. So if anything sounds too good to be true out there, call these numbers and contact with a local SHIP or SMP counselor so we can help you out.
So, you have given us a wealth of information. Now, I know the big question here is, so how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, and that's that. I'm in Missoula, but we have a local agent pretty much in every county in Montana. So if people call the 800-551-3191, that should get them their closest office on aging. It's a Montana-only number. So if somebody's looking for help outside of Montana, they can go to smp.org, and that will get them a contact for any state or U.S. protectorate, the SMP program there.
Thank you. We've been talking to Renee Labrie Shanks, and this is Aging Horizon, and I'm your host, Wilma Collins. This has been brought to you by the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.